What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever y'all get around to watching this, guys. What's going on? Steve Hyder, Gate City Sports Channel, y'all. If you are new to the channel, if I can ask you to do me a huge favor, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Guys, it helps. It motivates YouTubers. It keeps me out here pushing out new content and thinking of new ideas. And to my OGs, you know what I'm going to ask you to do? Hit that thumbs up button, guys. That thumbs up button is how we communicate with YouTube and let YouTube know that we are a community that converses and talks and does all those things. And then they take all our videos and push them out across the platform. So we bring in new people to talk to. All right, y'all. Today's topic, as promised, we're going to go over picks 11 through 20 of the 2020 NFL Draft. This is Mock Draft 1.0. I'm doing this kind of just before the free agency period starts, guys, so that way you can see what I'm thinking before free agency as opposed to how my entire viewpoint may shift following free agency. This is a good way for you guys to see, like, to what extent does free agency actually impact the draft? Hint, hint, a lot. But nonetheless, as I told you guys, I really feel like this 11 through 20. Look for receivers. This is where you are going to see your big three at least come off the board. In my opinion, it's going to be 11 through 20. Without further ado, guys, I know you guys are waiting for me to get into this topic, so let's talk about it. Picks 11 through 20. Let's just go over the draft order as it stands. We have the Jets, the Raiders, the Colts, the Bucks, the Broncos, the Falcons, the Cowgirls, the Miami Dolphins with their second pick, the Raiders again with their second pick, and the Los Angeles Rams. All right, guys, let's see how this draft board shakes up.
With the 11th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft.
All right, folks, before we jump into everything today, let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the news that broke. We finally got confirmation on what the Eagles' picks will be in the 2020 NFL Draft. So let's just cover it, guys. So, simply put, 21st pick, 53rd pick, 85th pick, 103rd pick, 127, 145, 146, 166, 168, 190. We ended up adding a third round pick and two fourth round picks as compensatory picks. Those worked out to picks number 103, 145, and 146, I believe. And then, of course, we got pick 168 and 190 from the Michael Bennett trade and Jonathan Cyprien trade. In total, as we predicted we have 10 NFL draft picks. Will we be drafting 10 players? This guy says, no, we won't. But that's coming up. So let's get to it.
Jedrick Wills Jr. of Alabama, an explosive, athletic offensive tackle, could be.
Alrighty, folks, let's just jump right into this. So, with the 11th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, you have the New York Jets sitting there. And I think the Jets have a glaring weakness. They got that kid Beachum playing left tackle for him. This is a former 7th round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me just clue you in on something. You gotta do better than that when you have a franchise quarterback and Sam Darnold behind center. Your offensive line, I'm sorry, Jets fans, I don't do this to disparage you or to make fun of you. Your offensive line is trash. Horrible. Horrible. You made Orlando Scandrick look like a perennial Pro Bowler out there. Like, your offensive line is just straight up horrible. With that said, there are a lot of needs on the Jets, and free agency is going to probably impact this draft pick more than a lot of draft picks, to be honest. You got issues with, Robbie Anderson. Will he be back? Won't he be back? Because without Robbie Anderson, then you're kind of without a dynamic playmaker on the outside for the Jets. You got the question marks of Jamal Adams. Is he going to be welcomed back there in that locker room? Is this a guy you guys are going to lock up long term? He could certainly be a focal point of a defense. But if you're going to move on from Jamal Adams, you better find a dynamic playmaker on the defensive side of the football. Speaking of defense, you just cut ties with Tremaine Johnson. Tremaine Johnson is now a free agent. He was scheduled to make like $17 million, so it's not a big mystery he was let go. You got Leonard Williams you traded away last year, right? I mean, you got free agents in Jordan Jenkins, who's a really good pass rusher, playing that 34 outside linebacker rush end kind of positioning. And even backup guys who kind of stepped in and played major minutes for you and were basically starters like Neville Hewitt is a free agent. I do think that defensively, if you look at the Jets, they could use playmakers. Definitely could use a receiver, but receivers are deep in this draft. I just don't see them going receiver here. I think the real key, you got to have a left tackle. You got a franchise quarterback, you need a left tackle. And I got to tell you, you got a very good left tackle still on my board, which is Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. I think with the 11th pick, the New York Jets take Jedrick Wills out of Alabama and give Sam Darnold that cornerstone to build with there at left tackle. You got to fix your offensive line play, guys. It's straight up atrocious. All right. With the 12th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, I have the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. Look, the Raiders are a hard team to figure out just because they're going through kind of a shift, with having, adequate coaching now and adequate GM. And, before the Raiders were really just shock you in the draft. I mean, they would do things that made no sense. And it's no wonder why they were scraping the bottom of the barrel for more than a decade, basically. I mean, it was ridiculous. Um, with that said, when I look at the Raiders, they have some needs here. I definitely think you can watch out for the Raiders to take a wide receiver, but I do think this draft is so deep, and the Raiders being in that 12th spot are going to have opportunities to go get playmakers at receiver to where it doesn't it feels forced if you take it in the 12th pick because you're going to be up high in the second round. You're going to be up high in the third round. You're going to have opportunities to go pluck out receivers who can go make plays for you in this draft because it's just deep. With that said, the best player who I think is still on the board is still sitting there, the best overall player. This is a guy that you plug into a defense like the Raiders, and I think you're immediately tremendously improved defensively. I don't know where you play the kid. I don't know if you play him at linebacker, you play him at safety. I don't think it matters. The kid is just this kind of an impact player. I'm giving the Las Vegas, Raiders with the 12th pick, Isaiah Simmons, safety slash kind of linebacker out of Clemson. The dude's a monster. You're not going to be dissatisfied with that pick. The minute that kid puts on the helmet and starts playing football for you, you're going to go, man, we got that pick right. Okay, the 13th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Well, with the 13th pick, I should say, the Indianapolis Colts are on the clock. And with Indianapolis, it's a bit of a mystery, right? JLU, you and I, man, we're on the same wavelength. You and Philly Mike were pointing out things I was about to bring up today. I was like, oh, man, they're killing me here. You and I have the same wavelength where I have a sneaky suspicion. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think the Colts are going to try to get up in the top half of the draft because they need a quarterback. If they miss in free agency and they cannot get the marquee guys in free agency at quarterback, I definitely think you will see the Indianapolis Colts trying their damnedest to get up to those top in a top 5 pick scenario. But if they can't get up there, I think you sit still. I think there is something to develop there at quarterback what they already have with Jacoby Brissett. And yes, I'm an NC State homer, and I'm saying that because I'm a Jacoby Brissett fan. But I do think there is something there. I don't think he's an elite talent, but I don't think he's a guy that completely kills you either. I don't, you're going to win a Super Bowl with Jacoby Brissett? Probably not. But could you make the playoffs and make a decent run? Yeah, you probably could. You get the right playmakers around them. One thing I'll say about the Colts is you guys got a great offensive line. You've done a really good job building that offensive line up. I think it's one of the most underrated offensive lines in the league, and quite frank with you, it might be the best offensive line in the league. So with that said, if you can't get the quarterback you want, I think you take the most talented player on the board, a guy who's going to help you become a more dynamic offense. That's CeeDee Lamb. With the 13th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, I have the Indianapolis Colts selecting wide receiver out of Oklahoma, CeeDee Lamb. I just think it's a no-brainer for them. I don't think that the organization is going to reach for quarterbacks. I think they'll go try to find a veteran somewhere. You still got Ryan Fitzpatrick out there. You still got, Phillip Rivers who can come in and play. You could be involved in that Tom Brady sweepstakes. I don't think they will, but you could be. You got veteran guys who could step in and bridge the gap until you get the next guy in that place, or to help groom Jacoby Brissett if that's the direction that organization wants to take. I don't know the direction of the organization, guys. I'm not a Colts fan, but that's where I see you guys going. All right, y'all, moving on. The 14th pick, JLU. You called it. And this is what I had written down on paper just to show you JLU on this sheet of paper here. I don't know if you guys can see very well, but you go to the 14th pick, you'll see Tampa Bay, Jordan Love. With the 14th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting quarterback Jordan Love out of Utah State. Is this a reach? Hell yeah, it's a reach. It's a big reach. Can Tampa Bay afford to not take a quarterback? Hell no, they can't afford to not take a quarterback. If you believe Jordan Love is going to be a good football player, Why do you care if it's a reach? In hindsight, Tom Brady was a sixth, seventh round, drafted rookie free agent type level talent in the what was it, 1990 or 2000 or 1990, whatever draft he came out. I think it was 2000 draft. In hindsight, had you known Tom Brady was going to be Tom Brady and the Patriots or whatever team went and drafted him in the first round, we would all made a big stink if you're fans of that fan base, right? You'd be like, what the hell? Still would have been the right pick. Same thing applies here with Jordan Love. If you believe he's the guy, you draft him at 14. You know why? You're going to have a hell of a time getting him in the second round at the 14th pick. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think Jordan Love comes off the board, which really I think seals the Eagles' fate. With Jordan Love off the board, I just don't think you're going to have a lot of movement back into the first round from the second round. Basically means I don't think the Eagles can move back. I think it's going to be really difficult for the Eagles to move back and trade value now. So that only locks us into one fate, and that's coming up, gentlemen. With the 15th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, I have the Denver Broncos selecting wide receiver from Alabama, Jerry Jeudy. The Broncos need a wide receiver. They went out and they got their cornerback through the trade market. Now they need a wide receiver, okay? The one thing I will say about Denver is Jerry Jeudy strikes me as a Denver Bronco. He just seems to have that kind of mentality, that kind of attitude, that kind of show up with your lunch pail and go to work every day. I think he's a good cultural fit for Denver. And, to be honest with you, I think Denver could do a lot worse in this draft. I'm pretty sure if you guys are Denver Bronco fans and you're watching this channel right now, you're pretty damn pumped. Hey, look, I like this kid a lot too. Jerry Jeudy's a good football player. All right, with the 16th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, I have the Atlanta Falcons selecting cornerback Trayvon Diggs from Alabama. Here's the thing. Trayvon Diggs is a really particular fit, in my opinion, but an exceptional athlete. Former wide receiver, converted into a cornerback. The dude is a cover three specialist. You put this kid in a cover three defense, and I think Trayvon Diggs is special in cover three. Now, if you look through and you look at Atlanta's needs, they need a cornerback, they need defensive end, they need offensive line help. They've invested a lot already in the offensive line from last year's draft. Just injuries killed them. Injury bug killed them last year. I think they're anticipating those two draft picks they spent last year to come back and impact that offensive line play. So that really leaves your biggest needs being corner and pass rusher. You could definitely see Atlanta go pass rusher here. I would not sleep on that pick. You still got both of your bigger pass rushers. AJ Epineza still on the board. So you can see them go AJ Epineza. You can see them go Yatir Gross-Matos. I think Yatir Gross-Matos, AJ Epineza, and then I would say Trayvon Diggs are all in play for Atlanta with this pick. I'm going Trayvon Diggs because I think he's the better athlete, the better overall player. And let's be honest, if you're going to spend money in free agency, you spend it on defensive end. You don't want to spend it on corner. Corners get you in trouble in terms of the financial ability you have going forward with your football team. All right. With the 17th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select cornerback C.J. Henderson from Florida. This is the way I see your all season working out, Cowboy fans. I do think you will figure something out with Dak Prescott because you would be idiotic not to. If you let that slip through your fingers, you're going to be in the dumpster for a long time. So pay him $40 million, pay him what he wants. If he's your guy, why are you arguing over the numbers? Pay the damn dude. Doesn't matter. CBA is going to keep going up. You're arguing over shit that is ridiculous. If he's your franchise quarterback, make it work. Do you think New England would have struggled over the Tom Brady decision? Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, the Eagles certainly didn't struggle with the decision about Carson Wentz. The Rams didn't, struggle with their decision. Do you think the Chiefs are going to struggle with their? If he's your franchise quarterback, why is it such a difficult decision? Either shit or get off the pot when it comes to Dak Prescott. That's my advice to you guys when it comes, well, not you guys, but your organization. And then my second bit of advice to you guys is, or where I see things going, is I do think that Dallas is probably going to find a way of retaining their receiver play that they have there. I just, I like Amari Cooper. I think he's a much better football player than some of the Eagle fans, fan base has given him credit for. Yes, at times he can be a little soft mentally, not physically. I think he's a very physical football player, but mentally he can be a little soft. With that said, he's not Julio Jones, but he's up there. He's a pretty damn good wide receiver. I think you guys find a way of getting that secured. So who's the one guy you're going to lose? You're going to lose Byron Jones, and you're going to need a replacement. I don't know what direction your defense is going to take because it has shifted and adjusted to where I didn't expect it. Um, so I gave you a corner. He's one of two or three corners I think that you can find in this draft. C.J. Anderson, who has the versatility to play man and zone. It's a very safe pick. He's a very good football player. And by the way, some of you guys might be sleeping on C.J. Henderson. Just know there are some draft analysts that have this kid as a top 12 pick. So he's a pretty damn good, talent at the 17th pick. My thing is when you look at certain players and you say, oh, that player won't last that long, then who else are you taking off the board? Because quarterbacks and offensive tackles are going to go in this draft. I'm sorry, it's the rules of the draft. So now you're telling me that you think guys like C.J. Henderson or you think guys like C.D. Lamb are better talents than like Chase Youngs and Jeff Okudas and Tuas, Derek Browns, Javon Kinlaw. Like, I just think you're stretching if you say that. He's a very good player, but wide receiver play, come on. You can find a million of those. All right. Trade. With the 18th pick, the Miami Dolphins have traded the 18th pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, guys, Gate City Sports Channel has gone on the record by saying that he does think the Eagles are going to move up in this draft. And do you know who they're moving up for? I know who they're moving up for. All right, here's the deal. I think the Eagles will give up something like the 21st, 103rd, and 190th picks in this year's draft to move up with Miami and take the 18th pick. And with that 18th pick, I see the Philadelphia Eagles selecting wide receiver from Alabama, Henry Ruggs. Here's the deal. He is the best fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. No denying it. There are other guys here who give you versatility. I'm not going to cry if we miss on Henry Ruggs because there's just a lot of wide receiver talent here. But the dude is a perfect fit for what we need. The guy's going to come in and be able to play that wide pretty damn well. He's going to be able to give you that insurance policy that if a Deshaun Jackson goes down, you're not losing the speed on that football team. I just think he's the perfect selection. I don't think it's too much to give up your first, your third, and like a sixth round pick for this kid. I mean, that's where if you look at the value chart, guys, it makes sense from the value chart perspective. I think that's where the Eagles are going, guys. 103rd or 21st, 103rd, and 190th selection. Move up in the draft to go get Henry Ruggs. I think it's a good value. There you go. All right, with the 19th pick, and this is why we had to do it. The Las Vegas Raiders select linebacker Kenneth Murray, Oklahoma. Woo! The Eagles have to jump the Raiders. I promise you. If Ruggs is still on the board at 19, the Raiders are taking him. You're going to have to jump the Raiders to get him. But the Raiders can sit back already knowing that they already drafted with the 12th pick Isaiah Simmons, and now you're getting Kenneth Murray with the 19th pick. That Raiders defense is starting to become a juggernaut at this point with the talent that's already there. They could use a pass rusher. You could watch and see if Oakland maybe goes pass rusher here. So there is a distinct possibility that Oakland goes pass rusher. I would still look for Yatir Gross-Matos. He could go there. You could see A.J. Epineza go there. But I do think Kenneth Murray also gives them something, and I'm going Kenneth Murray here. So the 19th pick, I got the Las Vegas Raiders selecting linebacker Kenneth Murray. All right, the 20th and final pick for today that I'm covering, guys, the Los Angeles Rams. Let me make sure I got that right. Didn't they trade out their pick? Yes, they did. Sorry. With the 20th pick, I got that one wrong, guys. With the 20th pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, not the Los Angeles Rams, select outside linebacker / defensive end, Clavon Chason. All right. Jacksonville needs pass rushers. Okay. I do think that Clavon Chason makes some sense there, but I also think you could see them maybe going a different direction. I think Yatir Gross-Matos once again comes into play. I think a guy like, just a big physical dominating kind of guy like an AJ Epineza makes a lot of sense for them as well. I would look for AJ Epineza, Yatir Gross-Matos, and I would look for Clavon Chason. The reason I put Chase on there is I think he's the better graded player. I think he's going to be higher on most teams' draft boards, so they're going to go with that. I do think if they're playing it from a common sense and a smart perspective, they go with AJ Epineza. AJ Epineza is a technician with his hands. He's a big physical dude. He's basically a guy that can play inside, outside. I mean, he'd be a really good football player for them. It would make a lot of sense for AJ Epineza to go there as well, but I'm going with the highest graded player on the board at this point, guys. And at this point, it's Clavon Chason out of LSU. So, picks 11 through 20 once again, guys. I got the Jets taking Jedrick Wills. I got the Raiders taking Isaiah Simmons. I got the Colts taking CeeDee Lamb. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Jordan Love. I got the Denver Broncos taking Jerry Jeudy. I got the Atlanta Falcons taking Trayvon Diggs. I got the Dallas Cowboys taking CJ Henderson. I got the Philadelphia Eagles trading up to get Henry Ruggs. I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Kenneth Murray. And then I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Clavon Chason. All right, y'all. Top 20 picks. So, all right, let's roll into the questions of the day and let's discuss what you guys think I got right, what I think I got wrong. Am I missing some obvious trades? Let's discuss it, guys. All right, guys. Look, sorry, number one, about the lighting, man. Just the change of daylight now. It's messing with me. All right. To begin with, let's talk about the guys that didn't make it this round that a lot of people probably kind of say, okay, if you're going to miss on any picks, these are the guys that are going to slide their way in the round that you missed. And I'll call them out because I think they're obvious. I think number one is Yatir Gross-Matos. He's got a lot of momentum going into the draft now. My thing is that he's going to be probably late first round, early second round, in my opinion. But I do think when teams go back to watch the film, he's a very talented guy with a lot of upside, but I don't think it's there to give him top 20 status. I can see a team taking a chance, though. You know what? Pass rusher is one of the premier positions in the NFL, along with left tackle and quarterback. I can see it. I can absolutely see it. I won't say it's impossible. I'm just saying, as I graded them, that's why I slid him outside the top 20. The other guy that I think is a little harder to defend is A.J. Epineza. He's an obvious one. I think a lot of people would look at and say, hey, Gate City, why don't you have A.J. Epineza going in the top 20? Well, the opposite of why I didn't put Yatir Gross-Matos in there. So when it comes to A.J. Epineza, he has elite hand usage. I do think some people will look at his measurements, will look at his combine and the way he tested, and will look at the film and say, he's not explosive enough for me. So that could cause him to slip outside the top 20. Now, look, if a team's being true and the scouts are being true to their film, they're going to put on the film of A.J. Epineza and go, whoa, dude can ball. Dude is a player. He's good in any type of system. You can play him in a 34 as a 5 technique. You can play him in a 43. You can play him everywhere. Like, he's got skill. So that would be my opinion on what's going on here, guys, with those two players and why I slid them out of that top 20 round. The surprise pick I probably put in there, it's not so much a surprise as JLU was shouting it out in the comments yesterday. I was like, damn, he's about to ruin my video. I think the surprise pick here is going Jordan Love at 14. But as I looked at it, if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, unless you're going to trade up in the second round to try to go get somebody, I think you don't have a choice but to make that draft. You have to make that pick because you're out of range in the second round. Even if you trade up into the second round, you still might not get it. And if you're trying to trade up into the late first round with a second round value, oh man, you're going to have to give up the rest of your draft basically to come get them. I don't think a lot of teams are going to drop from 21 down to, what's that, 44, 45, 46, like 48th pick or whatever it would be. Like that, you're going from 21 to 48 it's a big slide, guys. Like, I think you'd have to give up damn near your entire draft for that. So I do think that they're in a rough situation to where they got to make that pick. But look, they could just say, we'll just let fate fall where fate falls. I don't think that's a lock. I'm just trying to use a little creativity to shake things up so it's not exactly the same draft board as everybody else's. And at the same time, try to use a little logic to reason to why I may project certain players to certain places. But all right, guys, let's do the questions of the day. Number one, tell me, what do you think about Henry Ruggs? Look, this isn't a big jump. To go to 21 to 18, have to go up a first, a third, and a sixth, which should be about right. You might have to go above the six and give a fifth up. It doesn't matter. We have two of them. That's fine. I think that makes sense. I think that's about where Ruggs will fall. I think if you can get up to 16 to 18, you might have to jump Dallas for Ruggs. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay? Depending on what happens in free agency, you might have to jump Dallas. Now, if Dallas signs back Amari Cooper, I don't think they're going to be in the Henry Ruggs sweepstakes anymore. I think Dallas will be looking more to replace Cobb in the slot, and that's just a different grouping of players. I think at that point, they might really be looking at a guy like, looking down their draft boards and going, Justin Jefferson makes a lot of sense as a big slot. So that's what I would look for in terms of that. I do think the Eagles will have to jump the Raiders because the Raiders, I don't think at 12 are going to take him. I think it's way too high for Ruggs. But I do think if you're sitting there at 19 and you're the Raiders and Ruggs is still on the board, you're taking him. So I think you got to jump to get to 18 to get Ruggs. That's my opinion on the situation. But you guys let me know your opinion. Look, I'm not like this huge Ruggs or bust guy. I like Henry Ruggs. I think he's a really good fit for the Eagles. I don't think that you have to go Henry Ruggs or you're just missing this track completely. I think there's a lot of wide receiver options. Me, myself, guys, I'm a big Jalen Reagor fan if we're talking about potential wide receivers, guys that are kind of going to play the flank positioning. I don't care that the kid ran a 4.47. When I turn on the film, he's faster than a 4.47. The kid's got a 42-inch vertical, and that vertical shows back shoulder. The kid really elevates and goes back shoulder and gets passes. And I think he's a much better route runner than people think. So I'm one of these guys that I tend to tell people just relax. It doesn't have to be Henry Ruggs, but if you can get him, it's hard to find that type of speed, guys. And Henry Ruggs is another guy that jumped 42 or more inches on the vertical. Like, I mean, he's a very athletic guy. Now, whether it's going to translate in the NFL, we don't know that yet. But like I said, guys, I'm not a Henry Ruggs or bust, but I definitely get why some people are. All right, y'all. Question number two I got for you guys. I want to know your thoughts on AJ Epineza and then the other player that I think you could definitely see some momentum going forward in terms of going between 11 and 20 would be Yatir Gross-Matos from Penn State. I think that he definitely could fit in a few places there. So I want to know your opinion. Am I undervaluing them? I do. There is a part of me that gets a little weird about, AJ Epineza because I do feel like he could definitely be one of those guys that goes. But when I looked at the value charts, guys, when I'm looking at like Clavon, Chase on it and whether how do I fit them? Where do I fit them? What teams are drafting where? It is hard because Clavon Chason could be viewed as specifically only a fit in a 34 as an outside linebacker kind of, pass rush specialist, pass rush outside linebacker. So those kind of things are difficult, but let me know your thoughts there. And then number three, I ask you one final question, guys. And my final question to you all is this. What do you guys think and feel about trades? I moved the Eagles up. I think that 16 to 18 makes sense. Are there any other trades that you see? Did I sleep on a trade? My thing is that once you remove Jordan Love, that fourth quarterback, I think it really stops the momentum of trades in the back half of the draft. So that's why I didn't really do any more besides the Eagles. But maybe there are other teams like Green Bay and some others who might be trying to leapfrog the Eagles to get players. That's a possibility. But I'm just looking at it wouldn't really cost Eagles that much to go from 21 to 18 or even 16. I still think you can go 16 and be fine. But all right, y'all, that's it. You know what time it is. It's time to close out this video. And how do we close out videos? Oh, yeah, we go EADLES. All right, y'all, let me know your thoughts, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow for the back half of the first round.